Good morning, everybody. This is Max Farrell. This is DexTrader.com. Today is August 3rd, 2018, and this is Trading Live with Max. All right, everybody. So normally in these videos, I have it to where I show you that I'm trading. I show you the stances that I'm using and the setups that I use on our 5-minute system. But today is Friday, the first Friday of August. And unfortunately, at 8:30 this morning, the NFP hit. Now, in most news days, news will come out and it'll give me a block of time that, of course, I can't trade, right? Like say between 1 and 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. or from 8:30 to say 10:30. These times I could usually count on that not trading. Why? Because the news comes out, even if it's a one bull, it may make the market jump and be volatile or keep going or what have you, or drop it down to another zone that I wasn't prepared for in a 5-minute period. Now, when big news comes out, like 3 bull, you're going to have to wait a little longer because the market comes out and it really comes out. And maybe it's trying to come back down so we can go back into its normal routine. But this might take an hour. Okay? So when the NFP comes out, boy, basically the whole day's come out, right? So you got 8:30 in the morning, NFP comes out, makes a huge drop, big influx, big giant, and then return opposite, and then maybe it takes that, but then this usually takes about 3 hours to be able to fluctuate. Now, unfortunately, not only do we have a ton of 8:30 news, but we also had some 9 o'clock news, some 9:45, and some 10 o'clock news, lots of 10 o'clock news. Okay, so the market's in a state of everywhere. Okay, so I'm not going to worry so much about trading today. It's Friday. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, first, let's jump over and have a look at the 5-minute signals real quick. There is a possibility that you could trade between 10:30 and 1 because the news that's releasing isn't out until about 3 o'clock. I'd say about quarter to 1 you want to be trading. So you got about an hour and a half that you could trade. But remember, at 10:30, all this news was happening. 10:30, you got single bulls, so you may not get too much of influx, but there might be returning numbers. So we don't know what we don't know. I just err on the side of caution. But let's look at some setups here. Real quick, we won't get into anything because even though that I do see a good setup, I still may not get into it because of the news information here. Okay, so we immediately see in the Auto USD that we were in a downtrend for a long time this morning. You see what happened. We had some news, but this signal here of this one right here had as we were coming down, it gave us a pullback to an area that was bigger than this little drop down, which would have been acceptable. So as the pullback came out, the very next arrow, which was a down arrow, was below the previous lows here. So this is why I was happy with this, to be able to look at that one. So this one would have been a great trade to get into and would have been a huge success. Okay, as we came out, we had these pullback arrows because we don't know what we don't know when we're on this arrow. The next arrow that came out was higher than this high. So what happens? This breaks the trend from a down to a neutral until we establish this arrow. Now this arrow is up higher than this one, so now we're much higher than these lower bits and pieces here. And so now we're establishing what we call the uptrend reversal here. Let me tag over just a little bit more so you can see. So now since we're in an uptrend, this arrow now is the pullback arrow. Whereas in this is the continuation, which would have been right there. You had a perfect opportunity here because of the support and resistance area to get into this arrow right here, and this would have been the best one. Now I know all this looks like hindsight 2020 crap, right? And you don't know what you don't know when you're here, but you do, because you can completely see that the market established. Now this is why I say when you get to your trading computer that you wait. You wait for the proper signal. You wait for the market to establish itself. You don't just get here and go, oh, look, 2 down arrows, an up arrow. It looks like it's going up. Let's get into this one. We have to marginalize this reason why we're in. We pull back just a little bit and see, yeah, that it did have some information there. We did establish just like we did over here. And yes, this could have been a good one to get into. Right? We're above support. We're in that direction, and this would have been definitely a win if we could have got into the price. And remember, these aren't, just because I say that this is a good trade, we could have got into this one, that means that it passed the validation of trend, okay? And it passed the validation of direction, right? Because we're taking the first one after a pullback. So direction was deciphered through trend. This would have been the one, this would have been one that we would have went to Nadex with and said, okay, do we have money on it? Can we get into that trade? And I'm being super critical on my trades. Super, super, super critical. I'm not taking gambles. Now, on the cable, we were in a downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. We had a little pullback. Again, just like all three set up like really perfect. All three USD set up perfect to do that. This one pullback trade with, of course, or this one continuance. We had the pullback here, and we had the continuation there set at that level. Would have been one we would have taken in Nadex. Okay, win, lose, or draw. If it had money on it, we would have won something profusely. Okay, so it wouldn't even have been an issue. As this pullback arrow happens, because remember, we don't know yet. Pullback arrow starts to establish itself in the opposite direction above these highs. This is stuff you got to look at as we go. Same thing. Now these arrows become pullback arrows, and this arrow becomes the continuation and the signal arrow. All right. Let's have a look at the USD JPY. Now, oddly enough, you ready for this? Where we weren't really in an up position here. We didn't flip around. We actually went in continuation with a lower in this one because we weren't coming up and then it turned to a downtrend. It's always been, it looks like it stayed with a downtrend here, which is pretty cool. Let's see. We were sort of in a holding pattern here. Let me see, where's that box at? That's F. Yeah, there it is. This was in consolidation here for some time because we weren't really establishing higher highs or lower lows. We were to a degree, I guess you could say here, where we were lower, 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 okay, from that point. But we really made this double bottom here was what I'm looking at now. So when you get these kind of setups, even though you're getting lower highs, your lows weren't getting lower. You see, your lows weren't establishing new lows. They were bottoming out. So this means consolidation to me. So you got to watch that kind of stuff. Okay. Now, once we did get breakout, we got breakout right here. The first continuation, we established trend here and here. And then here is the pullback that never breaks this high, right? Kind of comes out to be right there. This is that first arrow. Now, I don't know if I would have gotten to this trade. The reason being is that this arrow is a little bit lower than this hump right here, but still higher than these others. So I don't know if I would have gotten into this trade because it did meet the requirements for the trend. And then two, whether or not it would have had money on it is completely irrelevant in here at this point, but it would have been a win. Now, before I leave you today, okay, I just wanted to show you some quick setups that happened. This is during news. I probably wouldn't have traded if I did get these lines that came up, even though that we do have some good movement right now. Could this been a good time? The only way you're going to find that out is that if you actually trade it. But do not ever, ever, ever trade it live, okay, until you're 100% satisfied that you could trade a particular time of news to that level, okay? Now, what about my week? If I took today off, and I took one other day off during the week, how much money did I make this week? Let's go have a look. The week started on the 30th of July, and today's the 3rd. I skipped Wednesday. I think I traded Monday. Let's go have a look. Let's go have a look here. Here's the beginning. Here's the week of. Here's from yesterday's trades, and I didn't trade the 1st. That's what it was. Okay, so there's the 30th. So I traded the 30th, and that was a $717. I don't know if you can see it down here. When you select an area in your spreadsheet, I don't know if you can see this down here. It'll give you a sum there. If you don't know how to do that, you can watch some of the other videos on it. But $717. So I'm just going to collect that here real quick. I want to show you how much was won during the week. Oh, I didn't do it right. Copy. I'm just gonna put these trades in for this week over here, just so you can see how much was made for the week. Boom, like that. There we go. So 4 trades for the week, total of $1,415. Not my best week, but by far not the best one, but not the worst, definitely. So pretty good. I'm gonna take that out because this is for the month so far. So far for the month, I'm up 687. Didn't trade today. Don't think I will trade today, but the concepts are the same. Okay, the week was extremely good. What did we get last week? Last week I think was really killer. Let me see here. 23rd to the 27th. Let's look at that. 23rd to the 27th. So that was the 24th right there, and we're going to go down to the 30th. Yeah, the week before was 1,597. So that's not too much more. But again, very, very reserved, okay? And then, of course, the second week of that month was about $1,900. So not too bad. Learning how to trade in this fashion takes time, takes patience, and takes a whole lot of training. And if you're not prepared to do that, then you're not prepared to really make a serious living in doing this. And making the living that I'm making right now in trading, this is only held back by my volume. Okay, so you got to learn how to get to that level of volume, because if you minus that out, making about $190 a day in that position. If you take out the 10 contracts, you're making about $150, $200 a week instead of $2,000 a week. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. I'm Max Farrell. This has been Trading Live with Max on DexTrader.com. We also have, going until Sunday, okay, this Sunday is a very special day because we're going to, we're offering up until Sunday a lifetime membership for $4.99. Now, after Sunday, on Sunday night at 12 p.m., whatever it is, this turns into $4.99 for a year. So it goes from a lifetime down to a year. And then a week later, it's going to go from for the year down to bi-yearly. So, we're trying this process out. We got so many people who bought in at this level. It's crazy. Some people think that I made a mistake making it too low, but you know what? I'm offering this because I feel sincere when I say that this is going to change your life. This is going to change your mentality on how you trade and how you work with things. So I can't wait to see inside. I'm Max Farrell. This is Dex Trader. We'll see you next time. And as always, trade well.